Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another live. Sorry, I'm a smidge flustered and I scratched myself on my chin. I just got done filming all of October's videos this morning. I did 6 this morning. It was a lot. I've been talking for a lot today, but I'm excited to hang out with you and chat and answer any questions that you have about goals, planning life, whatever is on your mind. So let's kick it off with the first question that we always start with, which is, what are you drinking? If you are here live, let us know in the chat what you're drinking while we're hanging out together live. And if you are watching the replay and are part of the replay fam, let us know what you're drinking and or what you're doing if you're multitasking while you are watching the replay. I'm literally feel like I'm about to spill this over someone. That's the wrong side of the mug. Hold on. But it's so full of coffee that I feel like I'm going to spill this. This mug is so cute. It's from Thailand and I love it, but it's small. So I made my instant coffee and it is all the way to the brim. You see that? It's literally about to spill. But it's delicious. And we're seeing a show tonight. So I need a little bit of extra boost to get me through the rest of my day. All right. Stock's pumpkin cold brew. Melissa, I don't know what stock is, but that, unless you mean Starbucks and it was just a typo. I haven't actually never tried the pumpkin cold brew. I don't like the pumpkin spice latte. It's way too sweet for me. I'm just not a huge, I don't know. I don't know about pumpkin in my coffee. That's all. I'm also just not I like pumpkin in my baked goods, and that's about the extent to my pumpkin preferences. We've got water, sweet tea, water, eating lunch, having a mini Coke with water, made it to the live with the Coke. Welcome. Water, drinking water and making a smoothie. Allie, that sounds delicious. Mary, working in the office today, listening at work. I love that. Also, thank you for being my guinea pig. An example that if the name that you prefer to go by is something that is other than your YouTube or Facebook name, please include it in the comments. Also, if you have a question that is not you can't figure out how to phrase it to a question and you just want to put topic, you can always do that as well. Lemon ginger tea. You can buy stocks at the grocery store. Oh, okay. Huh. I've never heard of that. Peppermint and lemon water today while I work on my 2021 scrapbook. I love the multitasking of working on something while you are listening. So working on my coffee. Trying to motivate yourself to hang laundry while you listen. Absolutely. I always repeat the questions. You don't need to be staring at me while you're watching. Get that laundry hung. Shani, how was Chicago? It was super fun. It was actually, the weather turned out beautiful. My mom's new place that she bought is beautiful. And so it was really fun to get to see that. And just a lot of family time and then a wedding. And then we went on the boat to celebrate Sam's. I say the boat. They don't have a boat. We went on a boat to celebrate Sam's birthday. And the weather was perfect. And we just had it was a really great weekend. It was a short in and out because I couldn't miss any more dance. So we literally left, I had danced Thursday night. We left Friday morning and then flew back Monday. So I could be back by Monday night dance. So it was a short trip. We would have liked to extend it on either end, but I just can't miss any more dance. So, but it was lovely. It was a great weekend. Thank you for asking. Okay, let's get into it. Any other questions that you have? Sorry, my nose is super itchy. It was doing that earlier, which is why I feel like it's all red. I feel like I rubbed all the makeup off my nose because it's all super itchy. Any questions that you have? Goals, planning life, whatever you have questions on. Sorry, I'm again flustered and I scratch myself on my chest. Just all over the place today. Monica, what is your favorite Powersheets cover? Definitely the Bluebird. If you have been around or you know me, you know I'm a bright colored person. I love, love, love bright colors. And so that one's definitely going to be my pick. It's still probably not quite bright enough for me. I probably would have preferred something a little bit brighter, but it's fine. It's what's on the inside that counts. I know we talked about this last week, but y'all, literally my Powersheets stay open like this. Sorry. I realized what was open was October because I just filmed that. I'm not ready to share that with you yet. Here's September, but literally that's all I see, right, of the green. So it's who cares really what the cover looks like? You don't even see that. So, yeah, I'm going to go blue bird. Let me know in the chat. If you're a Powersheets user and you've seen the covers, which cover are you going with in the chat or comment below? I've also gotten while we're talking about Powersheets, I've gotten quite a few messages about a review video. It will come as soon as I can. I don't have a product yet. I don't even know. I don't know when it's coming. I don't know when I can share with you. I don't have any of that information for you. All I know at this point is what you know, which is what the covers are and that they're launching October 12th. That is all I've got so far. I don't have anything else yet. As soon as I can, I will share my thoughts. I will share one with you and my thoughts as soon as I can. As soon as I have one. I don't have a new set yet. So okay, Melissa, I'm going to come back to your question and I'm going to come back to the questions. Let's finish this conversation about Powersheets. And then I'll come back to these other questions. Mine is Bluebird as well. Lots of Team Bluebird. That is, I don't know if it's just us and we just like a bunch of bright colors. I am afraid that one is going to sell out super, super quick. Yeah, Amy, seeing how much of us like Bluebird, guessing I should have a second and third choice. I think if you're planning on buying on launch day, I've never seen stuff sell out like the second it launches. All right. I've seen them sell out of colors within the first a couple hours, maybe. I'm thinking like the green one is the one that sold out first last time. I think it may have taken a couple hours for it to sell out. So as long as you're able to buy on launch day, I don't think that you'll have trouble with covers, but otherwise, yes, I may have a second or third choice. Holly, thinking of switching to Moxie Life, but we'll keep with Powersheets. If I keep with Powersheets, it will be Bluebird. So I wanted to comment on this question, on this comment. It's not a question. I'm commenting on your comment, which is that I have a video coming up on Monday that is how to pick a goal planner for you. And so hopefully that video will help you figure out whether you would fit better sticking with the Powersheets or switching to Moxie Life. I'm also going to review Moxie Life. I also have, I have no dates or information, but I have at least told them what I wanted to review. So I will review those for you. Okay. I'm going to go back to some of these other questions. So Melissa, topic. I haven't felt like doing any of my habits. I suppose I feel stuck. So what's likely happening here, like this, I haven't felt like any of them, is you're lumping them all together, right? And so you're having this all or nothing mindset of like, I'm going to do all my habits or I'm going to do none of my habits. So what I would encourage you to do is clean slate, wipe the slate clean, let go of all of them. If you haven't been doing them anyway, right? That's what you're doing anyway. Cut them all. Pick one small habit to start with and start with that one habit and start just working on that one. And that one small habit will then give you that momentum. We're not working on motivation here. We're working on momentum to keep going and to start to layer in some of those other habits. Excuse me. Also, it might be that it's none of the habits you were doing, right? Your first small habit that you start with might be a totally different one that you're just excited about. But it doesn't have to be like, well, I'm doing none of them, so tomorrow I got to wake up and do all of them, or Monday or October 1st or whatever it is. No. We're going to let them all go and pick one thing, whether it was one you were doing or not, and start there. What show am I seeing tonight, Jamie? We're seeing Little Shop of Horrors. I don't know why I had to think about that so hard. Have you ever written your ideal schedule for the day? Did you find it helpful? Any tips for doing the exercise? So if you don't know what she's talking about, I lean more towards an ideal week than an ideal day that I find beneficial. But there is an exercise where you can literally just map out what would your ideal day look like. And you can do this with a couple of different mindsets, which is what I want to comment on. So you can do this with your like long-term ideal day, right? Like in my dream world, this is what my day would look like. The pros of that is it can sometimes reveal to you what's really important to you, right? Like if your ideal day includes going to Starbucks every day because you want a specialty Starbucks drink, awesome. You just need to figure out how to budget the time and the dollars for that to be a feasible scenario. Even if that's not something you could start tomorrow. And that's the hardest part about the long-term ideal day is it's likely going to take lots of steps and lots of time for you to get to that ideal day. Then there's like the in-between, right? The like ideal day that may be a little bit more feasible. But the thing to remember here is it's still going to take steps and it's still going to take time, right? So even if you're making your ideal day off of your current status, so your current job situation, your current living situation, like any of those, even if you do want to change those long term, if you're making your ideal day off of that, it still might take steps for you to get there and it might take time. So that's kind of my struggle with the exercise is that sometimes the problem is we map out our ideal day and then we're like, hey, well, I'm going to wake up tomorrow and start this. Like I'm going to start this whole thing. Like, and that's just not feasible. So we've got to be more realistic about like, okay, I like the exercise from like a dreaming standpoint and like where you want to get to, but then I want you to be more realistic about the fact that it's going to take small steps to get there. So yeah, those are my thoughts on it. What are you most excited about for Q4? I mean, the dance show is coming in Q4. I don't know if you're asking about like goals wise right now. There's not really anything that's like super exciting me about Q4, to be totally honest. Okay. My second will be papaya, but did pink this year. I don't really like the patterns. Monica, I don't really like any of the patterns either, truthfully. Yeah, they're all kind of meh. I like the hydrangea that is for the 90-day, but I want the full year. Yeah, that color is really pretty. I agree with you completely. I think that like light blue, right? That's what it was. The hydrangea one, the 90-day is like a light blue. That was really pretty. But yeah, the 90-day one might not be for you. What's your favorite neighborhood in Chicago? So Josie, I have never actually lived in the city. I lived in the suburbs for the end of middle school and all of high school. My mom moved to the city 4 years ago when my youngest sister graduated from high school and she no longer had kids in school. So I visit, right? I visited there and I stay with my mom when I'm there, but I've never actually lived there. So I don't really know enough about the neighborhoods to tell you what my favorite neighborhood is. My mom lives in Lincoln Park. I love Lincoln Park. Yeah, I have a great time when we're there. I like the park and the zoo and the farmer's market and all the restaurants and stuff like that. But I don't know if I could really say that I have a favorite neighborhood because I don't think I know enough. Lisa, December daily. Yeah, I guess I am excited about December daily. I think because it feels like such a long wait. Maybe this is just ridiculous. It's such a big wait between like the products launching and picking the products. Like y'all, we bought our products on August 31st. And then I don't know when they ship and when we're going to get them, but it feels like it's so far away. So I'm like not as excited anymore. But I mean, I will be once it gets here and once it's like actually the holidays. Amy, welcome to Alive. I'm so happy you were able to join us today. Amy, back-to-back Amy's. I mapped out my ideal week, but I can't live it now because I'm recovering from COVID. Oh my gosh, I hope you're doing okay. Especially with other things you have going on. I hope that you're doing okay. It's still been helpful to mentally know what I will actually have time for and what I need to let go. And if we're talking about the ideal week exercise, I think the thing to remember about that is it is really, really hard to execute on perfectly every single week. Right? Like I can map out my ideal week, but it is very rare that I'm going to follow through on that every single week. It's more of just like a pointing me in the right direction kind of thing. If that makes sense. If you're planning an event, what 5 speakers would you choose for your event? I feel like you've asked this question before, or somebody's asked this question before, but I'll answer it. And I think some of it is selfishly people that I want to meet. So I for sure Kendra from The Lazy Genius, Judy Heller, who wrote Fear is My Homeboy, are like the 2 that always come to my mind first because A, I think they would be fantastic speakers, and B, I just really, really want to meet them. Who else would I include? Oh, Rachel Rogers. I'm rereading We Should All Be Millionaires. I would love to have her I would love to hear her speak on a stage and be able to get to meet her. Okay, that's all. I got 3, not 5. Okay, I think you have asked it before, but that's okay. I'm happy to answer. Are you doing any advent calendars this year? Not sure if you answered this in a previous live, but are you doing Vlogmas? So yes to Vlogmas. As far as advent calendars go, so far I only have the December daily one from Allie Edwards. I probably will buy some sort of sweet one, whether it's chocolate or sugar fina or something like a sweet dessert type of thing. I don't know if I'm going to do any more, y'all. I don't know. We'll see. I feel like for the past few years, I bought advent calendars just because of Vlogmas and not necessarily because I want them. That's maybe not totally true. But I don't know that I need a bunch of them. So I don't know. Okay, Amy, recovery during pregnancy is super slow, but we're getting there. Baby seems fine. We'll have an extra ultrasound just to be safe. Okay, just thinking of you. I'm glad that you are on the road to recovery. Sugarfina has this crazy advent calendar that's $250, a carousel with lights. Holy camole. Yeah, no, that sounds beautiful, but I also would not be able to justify the price. I'm pretty sure I paid like $50 for my Sugarfina one from last year, which still felt like a lot. Like $2 per day felt like too much, especially for what I got in it. Like you got like 4 pieces of candy per day. That's like 50 cents for each of those little gummies. And now that I'm doing all that math out loud, I'm like, wow, that seems very ridiculous. But 250 is even more ridiculous. And that's the struggle with some of the other ones. Like I've looked into candle ones and I think that will be really fun, but most of them are pretty pricey, which makes sense because you get like 24 candles, even if they're just tea lights. And I'm just like, do you really need that? Like, do you really need 24 candles? No, you don't. So I don't know. That's why I'm like, maybe I don't really need any other advent calendars this year. Amy, I don't expect my ideal week to happen as written. I mostly just have a general rhythm to default to, so I know what projects goals I need to let go of or downsize in the season. Absolutely. I was just saying that not necessarily directed at you, but anybody who was going to do the ideal week exercise. I know that's something that Club Moxie is doing right now. It's also something that is part of like the Powersheets, the new daily planner. It's definitely an exercise that has value, but can sometimes feel unrealistic. And then you give up on all of it. So I just wanted to add that. Tanya, I feel like a lot of the channel is focused on letting goals go or not finishing them. So we do at least some of it instead of nothing at all. But tips on actually following through and achieving goals despite hardship. So I don't know if you feel that way, like if that's recently how you felt like it's been focused, but I do feel like part of following through is that you're going to have to let go of things because truthfully, most of us have way too high expectations of what we can actually achieve. And so when we have these expectations that we are going to do all the routines perfectly and we're going to achieve all the goals and achieve all the progress, in order to follow through, we are likely going to have to let go of stuff. That's just the nature of what I have experienced and what I have seen others experience. So that might be why it feels like that, because I do think that one of the key ways to following through is potentially having to let go of stuff that you're not going to be able to do. Take like a morning routine, for example, right? Like you're unlikely going to do a perfect morning routine from start to finish, all the steps every single day. And so I would rather you do some of it, right, than not do any of it. So that might be why you feel that way, but I do think it's all one and the same. I think it's all linked, that in order to follow through and achieve your goals, you're likely going to have to let go of something and let go of that all or nothing mindset. Now, the second part of your question where you say despite hardship, I'm not quite sure what you're referring to here, because I think that this can be a scenario that could go a number of different ways. There could be like emotional hardships. And obviously, I think we've all gone through that to some extent over what we've been through in the last few years. But if you're going through a personal individual hardship, I have always said that there are going to be times in your life where you just need to push all the goals aside and you need to let them go for a period of time to get through what you need to get through emotionally. You're going to have to spend time mourning whatever it is, even if it's not like a mourning in that scenario, even if it's like mourning a scenario or a friendship or whatever it is. But then, as with anything, when you're jumping back into it, we've got to start small. And that's why it's not worrying about that all or nothing mindset. And it's picking a small step to start back in and not feeling like you're failing by not doing it all. I think that is another big key to it that can maybe come across as like letting go, but really it's like, let's focus on then what you are able to accomplish and not worrying about it feeling like failing. The key to following through is making the steps even smaller, writing them down and tracking them in some place, reminding yourself on a regular basis so you don't forget about your goals, and then utilizing that momentum from the action to keep going. That's the like blunt, really basic tips if you want them. But I do think there's a lot of like mindset, all or nothing kind of work that has to be done too. Amy, oh my goodness. If you were to write a book in the future, do you think it would be goal related, how to achieve goals, or would it be another topic? I have no idea. I toy with the idea of whether that would actually be a big dream of mine or not. No idea. River, hi. You changed your name, your YouTube name. We have always loved EC's softbound journals. Now stepping away. Any new suggestions by chance? Love the size and paper of them. So, in my experience, there is no paper that's going to compare to EC's paper. Like, I have not found anything that is comparable. I do think the Archer and Olive journals, which I have only seen somebody else's, I've never owned my own, I think is the only one that I have heard can be somewhat comparable that has a bound option. So I would maybe check out Archer and Olive's paper, or Archer and Olive's bound journals. I also have never been a bound journal person. I'm a coil girl through and through. So that, I can't think of any other bound journals really. So if somebody else has another recommendation for them, I would love for you to share. But that would be my only guess of where to go. But knowing deep down that in terms of coil things and planners and stuff, the paper just never, for me, nothing compares. But hardship as in energy procrastination. Got it. Do you think it's beneficial to set one big goal that we aim to achieve no matter what? I don't think that there is a right or wrong of one big goal or a bunch of smaller goals. It is going to be what works for you. There are some people that really benefit from lots of goals and making small progress on lots of goals at one time. And there are some people that benefit from picking one goal and going all in on that one big goal. Neither of those is right or wrong. It's really what works best for you. In terms of low energy and procrastination, it's kind of those things that we already talked about. So the energy I talk about is the spectrum, the energy spectrum. You're not going to be at the same level every single day. So having options on your action steps of what you could do based on your energy. The example I always give is tidying up my apartment. When I am on the highest of the energy spectrum, which let's be real, happens like once or twice a month, I tidy up my whole apartment before bed. That regularly happens. When I'm on the other end of the energy spectrum, which also happens once or twice a month, typically a certain time of the month, I prioritize the desk. And by the way, your energy spectrums are likely going to be different than the person sitting next to you. I say that like you don't have someone, you may or may not have someone sitting next to you, but you know what I mean? The person on the chat below or above you, and different from me. So your examples could be very different. So your low energy is like your bare bones, your minimum, right? The smallest step you could possibly take. And that is, for me, it's cleaning off just the desk. And then the average energy, when I'm somewhere in the middle, which is most days, I tidy up the office before bed. So having action steps that are your options for the different energy days. Procrastination usually comes from not breaking it down enough, and your steps are not small. I actually have a whole video on procrastination if you haven't checked that out yet. Passion Planner is bound. Yeah, I've never actually, do they have just notebooks? I've never ordered from them. Ooh, Carrie, this is a great suggestion. I also have low energy and procrastinate a lot. I find that journaling about my goals when I'm excited and motivated is helpful. Then I reread those entries when I'm feeling lazy. I like that. I think, again, motivation is fleeting. Motivation is hard to find and even harder to keep. What we really want to focus on is momentum. And where momentum comes from is action. Action leads to momentum. So when you find yourself feeling lazy or unmotivated or unexcited, don't wait for the motivation, because it's not going to come. The only way that you're going to get going again is to actually get going. And so what typically you need to do in order to get going is make the steps even smaller, and make the steps as small as you possibly can so that you can actually start them. That action will breed that momentum, which will keep you going. Amy, for me, I have to break even the basic test down because I suffer from rheumatoid arthritis. My hands and joints hurt so badly, and I have chronic fatigue. Thank you for giving me an example that everybody is going to be different, right? I am an able-bodied, I was going to say single. That's not what I meant to say. Not a mom, right? So like my extremes, and everything in between energy wise is going to be different for Mamie's. Everybody's is going to be different. It's just a matter of figuring out which one, like where you fall. What is your bare bones minimum? And by the way, you might not even do that some days. Okay. There are definitely going to be days that we're just like, that's not happening, and that's fine. What is the bare bones minimum? And then what are the different options that you can give yourself? I'm going to come back to yours, Lisa. Yeah, it's very difficult to accept that low energy days are normal. 100%. And then the other thing that I feel like I've explained before in various places, but if you've never heard me, is that the problem is that when we're not, I don't remember which one I did was which, right? Like one of them is 100% and one of them is 0%. Most days we're not at 100 or 0. Right? Now, you will likely have 1 or 2 days a month that you are at either of those. Most days we're somewhere in the middle. The problem is that when we are at closer to 0 than we are to 100, we just push ourselves down. And we're like, okay, well, I'm not going to be able to do all of it, so I'm just going to do none of it. Right. And instead saying like, okay, well, I'm at 20% of me today. So can I do 20% of the things I would ideally like to get done? And then vice versa, if you're at the 70 or 80, instead of like trying to push yourself to the 100 and then feeling guilty when you don't do it, accepting I'm at 80% of me today. So I'm going to get 80% of my list done or my goals or whatever it is. All right, Lisa, I'm trying to use the Pomodoro method at work, but I get interrupted frequently and I'm struggling with deciding to pause my timer or not and how to accurately track time when interruptions happen. So I have a hard time answering this question because the Pomodoro method is working for me, but I don't get interrupted at work. I am very much in control of my time, and the only person who could interrupt me is Sam or Charlie. And most of the time Charlie's already on my lap. So I don't, sorry, I'm blocking that spam message. I don't have an answer for you on this because for me, the Pomodoro method works because it's just me holding myself accountable, right? So if you're constantly getting interrupted, it might not be the best option for you, right? It might not actually work for you. That said, what could work for you is maybe smaller cycles, right? That way you don't feel as bad pausing it if somebody does come. Not worrying about tracking, just letting it go, because it likely if you're getting interrupted, you're still working those minutes. So you still need the break when it's time to need the break, and like not worrying so much about time tracking to task and just worrying about like using the cycles to remind you to take breaks. And then I think option 3 is like, how can you limit these interruptions? Right? Can you turn off when you get interrupted, right? I don't know your job. I don't know what it is, but when you get interrupted, is it really like an urgent thing that you need to do right away? And if it's not, how can you limit interruptions, right? Can you turn off notifications? Can you put on like, pretend you're in a meeting for the Pomodoro cycles or something along those lines? I hope something in there helped you, because I don't know if I can answer that. Amy, I broke down my kitchen reset project into 2-minute jobs so I don't get overwhelmed. That's the other thing. And Tanya, to kind of all of the questions we've been talking about related to your original question, the breakdown is going to be different for every person, right? Like my low energy breakdown is likely going to be higher than either Amy's. One Amy who suffers from chronic fatigue and one Amy who is a lot of months pregnant. I can't remember exactly how far along you are, Amy. So their energy chunks are likely going to be smaller than mine. And so their need to break down their goals into energy chunks that are motivating to them to keep their momentum is going to be different than mine. And so knowing what your energy chunks are and breaking them down as such. Now, also, another thing I just thought of about that is your breakdowns can be different for different tasks. So tasks that I don't like, I'm going to have to break those down more because I'm going to have a way to motivate me and keep me that, like, create that momentum in a different way than tasks that I like. Sarah, I'm new to planners and use Happy Planner. I draw on each week as a stress relief creative outlet. I love applying your tips each week and day is productive too. I love that. Thank you for sharing. You are not alone. There are so many of us who use our planners as that stress relief creative outlet as well. So you are definitely not alone there. And I think there are ways to have it be both a creative outlet for you, but also allow you to utilize it for productivity and getting things done and achieving your goals ultimately. All right, I think I'm all caught up on comments and questions. I'll sip my coffee while it's still a relatively warm temperature. I feel like I just said a lot right there. For fun, I think we saw this on Allie's video. If you were a planning object or accessory, what would you be and why? That is a really fun question. I mean, my initial thought goes to like a black pen, like a black Papermate Flare. But I also could be like a silver coil. I could see that. That's a fun question. I don't really have a good reason for either of those. Besides, that's just where my brain went when I saw your question. And like I'm looking around my desk to see if there's anything I would be. Yeah, no, I feel like it's those things. That's fun. I appreciate all of the serious goal questions, but the questions can also be fun like that as well. Anything that you want to ask or chat about. I love this time together that we can actually get some tips on things that you are struggling with, but we can also just chat and get to know each other a little bit better as well. I feel like that's also just fun. Jennifer, I'm struggling with taking the COVID booster because I will be sick for 2 days from it. I don't want to lose 2 days, but I know it's necessary for my health. Okay. So I got my booster last Monday. And first thing I will tell you is it did not hit me near as hard as the first ones. So my shot 2 and 3 took me out for 2 days also. I feel you. 2 days I was down. This one did not. It kind of only took me out for like an afternoon. I was a little bit slower that whole day, but I really only needed like to be like napping and doing nothing for like a couple hours. So you might be surprised. You might be pleasantly surprised. Now, I would say still mentally prepared. I'm mentally prepared for like the 2-day knocking me out scenario, and it didn't end up happening. That said, I would also create a list of like, what are your low energy activities, right? So that day, and you'll see this in the plan with me that comes out next Friday, I didn't do what I originally was going to do. I did some lower energy activities and I just did it all sitting in my bed. So I was still able to do some things, just not like the highest energy things, right? If that makes sense. So, so you need to get it, right? Like, I mean, you don't need to. Everybody is entitled to make their own health decisions. If you decide that you want to get it, mentally know that you could be out for 2 days, or you could be anywhere in between, right? You could have no reaction and be totally fine. Or you could be out for 2 days. If you're somewhere in between, what are the low energy activities you would do from bed? And if that's just watching TV and resting, that's also okay. I just didn't have a weekend to give up. So for the other ones, I did it on like a Friday at like noon, and I gave up the whole weekend. I don't have a weekend right now to do that with, because I have way too many dance things. So instead I did a weekday, and that's why I had those low energy activities. But if you can just like give up a weekend and rest, do that. Oh, does anybody have tips or channels who review European goal planners? International shipping isn't fun. Yeah, that is super hard. Although I see your follow-up saying this like intra-European shipping isn't international, but I'm sure it's still less expensive than like the States to Europe. I wish I had an answer for you. I don't know of anybody watching. If you're watching the replays, Jordan, Joanna, I'm thinking of the members of our community who live in Europe. I know what some people will do also is ship to, we have a community member who lives in Dubai. They'll ship to somebody they know in the States, and then it's less expensive, like a personal shipping instead of through a company sometimes, but it also, they make it worth it. They have more than one thing, right? So you order from a couple different places, have them shipped to a friend, if you have a friend in the States, and then have that person ship you all 3 orders kind of situation. I know that none of that really is all that exciting, but if hopefully somebody watching the replay, I would come back and check the comments on the replay and see if anybody has an answer for you. I do not. But you also, I think also keep in mind like the options of digital or printable. Like Moxie Life is offers a digital for theirs. I know there's a difference between digital and printable. I know we've talked about that, but oh, Jordan, you are here. I have yet to find a good one. The UK has great planner stationery companies, but now it has customs as well. So frustrating. If you can bind it, the Moxie Life Digital, yeah. I know it's different than like a printable version. It's set up for a I suck up the cost once a year because they bring me joy. Yes. It's hard. Like it is frustrating, but like that you have to budget for that additional cost for shipping. But if it's something that really makes a difference in your life, then, you prioritize it. Okay, yeah. I thought that this was true from Amy. There are often courier services where you ship to a US address and then they ship to your country. That's a bit less expensive. I don't know how all of that works, though. I went completely digital using GoodNotes and Zinnia about 5 years ago, and I'll never go back. So much cheaper. Yeah, especially when you can do it like on an iPad and you can write it with like an Apple pen, a pencil instead of, but for me, it's just not the same. It's not the same as having it on a piece of paper and writing it. All the praise to those of you who do it for everything. I love that for you. Andrew, about to open up a debate. When's the official start of fall for you? I think we had this conversation a couple of weeks ago. For me, it was when football started. So, like after Labor Day, so I know college starts the weekend of Labor Day, but for me, Labor Day is like the last hurrah. It's like the end of summer. And then the following weekend when the NFL starts. So, whatever that Thursday was of September, Thursday, the 8th. To me, that's the start of fall. Like Labor Day is over. Football is back. It is the start of fall. Got my orange on today. And I know that's not like the official start of fall, but in my mind, that's the start of fall. It's September 23rd, but it's still hot in Texas. That's also part of it. Depends on where you live. Although it doesn't feel like fall in New York today either. It's warm. But it depends on where you live. Also, there's no right or wrong answer. It's up to you whenever you want to embrace fall. Also, to me, like the start of fall, like it doesn't necessarily change anything about my day-to-day life. Like I'm not ordering different things or any of that stuff. Oh my God, I love how many of you it's based on your birthday. My birthday's in October, so to me, that's the start of fall. My birthday's August 21st, so August 22nd is the start of fall. I love that. That is so funny. Yeah, Lisa, the Moxie Life does have a digital option. So if you follow Darian, they've also been posting a lot of it on the Moxie Life Instagram. But Darian, who works for Moxie Life, shares a lot of it. She's like the spearhead behind the Moxie Life Digital. Definitely a great option. Caitlin, my favorite Powersheets cover is definitely the Bluebird. and favorite as in like from the options. I'm not like obsessed with it, to be honest, but it's fine. I'm doing my fall refresh tomorrow because it's the official first day of fall in Canada. It's also just far enough before I need to do my October Powersheets. Yep. Yep. And if you remember the Patreon community, we're doing our refresh on Sunday. I don't know why I had to think so hard about that. Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern is our quarterly refresh. Oh, Jess. Oh my gosh. I meant to bring this up at the beginning, but I was so flustered at the beginning. The last 100 days challenge. If you don't follow me on Instagram, or you do follow me, actually, I'm going to post it on my community tab here on YouTube, to remind YouTube people of it. Last 100-day challenge starting this Friday, the 23rd, if you're watching the replay. That is when there are 100 days left in the year. So from Friday until December 31st, it's 100 days. I encourage you to pick a small thing that you want to prioritize for the last 100 days of the year that you can do. Not every day, because we're going to miss days because life's not perfect, but the days that you can do it. If you are doing it and you already know you're doing it, comment, share with us what your habit is going to be. Oh my gosh, River, you are very sweet. I appreciate that so much. I'm excited for my cup of coffee. Do I have a favorite fall book? So I don't really feel like books make me think of fall so much as TV shows. For me, I know everybody talks about Gilmore Girls in the fall. I don't really read books seasonally, to be honest. I know that a lot of people do talk about this. And for me, that's just really not the case. I'm not changing any of my reading habits just because it's a new season. I find I never, like, even the one year I did read like holiday books, that's basically it. So I don't have a favorite fall book. Yeah, Julia, I feel like this is true. A lot of people, it's when the kids go back to school, right? Or you go back to school if you work in education. That's when it's fall. I love all of this. Oh my gosh, happy birthday, Lisa. Happy birthday. That's so exciting. Sonia, excited for the new Powersheets, wondering whether the prep work has changed. So I don't have one in my hands, so I can't answer this from like a official review capacity, but they did post a reel on Instagram that I like screenshotted the whole thing of yesterday that shows some of the pages, and they have changed some of them. They have definitely altered some of the design, and then also it looks like they've condensed a lot, but I love to watch You've Got Mail every fall. Yeah, to go back to your question, River, back to like, I don't have any fall books. And I'm thinking about fall TV shows. Also for me, the big piece of fall is like Halloween, and I love Halloween, and I love Halloween movies. So like, to me, that's like my favorite fall media is like Halloween movies. Like, can I start watching Halloween Town? How many times can I watch The Nightmare Before Christmas between now and Christmas? Hocus Pocus, like all of the Halloween movies. That's what I'm here for in the fall. Yes. I'm so excited. Okay, Jess, you're still trying to decide. You're thinking either meditate, read before bed, seal mine away, or water intake. You could do any of those, right? Like, and you could make separate ones. You could make separate ones and do more than one. I have done that before, and I've seen other people do that. I think maybe prioritizing one would be more beneficial. And also to remember that you can up it. Like, you don't have to do the same thing for all 100 days. I was talking to somebody yesterday in my Instagram DMs who is also doing water, and she's starting with one thing, but then if that goes well, she's going to increase it. And then her stretch goal is by the end of December to be at a certain level of water intake. Debbie, I'm assuming water is what you're talking about for your 100 days, or you're at the very beginning of the live and you're drinking water. Ariel, for your last 100 days, you're going to focus on meditation and self-care. I love that. Also, props to all of you who can meditate. My brain does not focus like that. Are you excited for Hocus Pocus 2? Yes. Yes, I am. Amber, you're doing reading, I'm assuming, for your challenge. Have you decided an amount that you're going to read, when you're going to read? I feel like always trying to get as specific as possible about how you're going to implement that is very helpful. Also, yes, so excited. I actually don't really like horror movies, to be honest, with the exception of like Silence of the Lambs. That's the only horror movie I really like. But I like Halloween movies. Amy, still deciding on a habit as well. Any tips for narrowing it down? Absolutely. So I think for this kind of a challenge, right? We're doing it for 100 days, which means it's likely something that you want to implement long term, right? Something that you want to, continue to carry over into the new year. It could very well be something that you want to do for just 100 days and be done with it. That is a possibility. I did that the very first year we did this. I read 100 Days to Brave, the book, which I was going to do her new book, 100 Days of Fun or something like that, but I decided not to. So you could do something like that, but really I would encourage you to do something that you want to implement long-term, which is why water is a great option. Reading is a great option. Meditation, for those of you who want to continue it, is a great option. And then always something that is 5 minutes or less, like something that you could do for 5 minutes and still get credit for it. And then really something that you would like to do every day, and you're not pushing it, right? Now, that said, I'm not really all that concerned about reading before bed on the weekends. I don't really care. So when you guys see my habit tracker, there might be days I don't do it. I mean, and by might, I mean there will be days I don't do it. And if they're the weekend days, that's totally fine with me. But if you're building a habit, if it's something that you want to do every day, that could also be beneficial. So I hope that helped a little bit in trying to narrow it down. Yes, 31 days of Halloween. That makes me excited. Not this weekend, probably, but next weekend I'm going to start watching Halloween movies because October is going to fly. I should have put that on my power sheets for October. Watching Halloween movies. I'm always here for you to put fun things. Ooh, Melissa, this is fun. 100 days, I'm doing writing, more specifically 5 paragraphs a day, whether it's for fan fiction, a draft of the novella I've been trying to write, or my morning pages, or a combination of all of them. Love that. Yes, Amy, there are a lot of things there aren't many things that you would want to continue once the baby comes. So that really narrows it down. Yeah. Good point. Good point. All right. Any last minute questions? Anything else that you need some support on? If you have not watched the video from Monday, I highly recommend you watch it. It's about finishing your 2022 goals in whatever way that looks like for you and not getting distracted by next year. I highly recommend checking it out if you have not already. I think it is, it's regardless of the progress you've made on your goals this year. I think it's helpful. All right. If you have any last minute questions, you can pop that in. But I am going to ask you my last question, which is, what is one thing that you're going to do this week to make progress on your goals? Maybe it's picking something for this 100-day challenge, which, by the way, all of you who have shared it in the chat, I would love for you to also share it on Instagram and tag me so I can reshare it to help other people get ideas. So maybe it's picking something. Maybe it's doing your quarterly refresh, joining the live on Sunday if you're a member of Patreon. And if you can't make it live, scheduling time to watch the replay. It is going to be 2 hours because we're going to do quarterly refresh, prepare for October, all the above. Maybe it's something else. What is the small step you're going to take this week to work on your goals? Join the goal setting on Sunday. Yes. Love it. Come on, comments. I always feel like YouTube is like slightly delayed. There we go. Pick the one habit you're going to focus on for the rest of September. Yes, Melissa, I love that. For now, just pick one, build that momentum, something small to get you going, and then you can start to layer in more. Joining the quarterly refresh live this weekend. Yay. Doing your last quarterly refresh and deciding on a habit for the last 100 days, and heal, get better, feel better. Join the 100-day challenge for the first time and decide on a challenge. I love that. And if you miss the 2 days when you are recovering from your vaccine, Jennifer, it's okay. Finish working on your HB90 and personal goals. Ooh, another HB90 friend. I know I'm like all ready to go for Q4. And I'm like, there are still 9 days left of September, Laken. You need to finish out September before you start thinking about October. Q4 refresh. Prepare for your French exam on Monday. Good luck, Jess. Yeah, that's a hard language. That's tough. So many steps, so many awesome steps. Remember, it doesn't take a big step for you to make progress on your goals. Hopefully you got something out of our chat today, something you can take away. If you did, and if you like this video, I would appreciate if you gave it a thumbs up. And if you're new here, click that subscribe button. I upload new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, focused on helping you achieve your goals. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you have a great rest of your day.